stop it, because we're not putting that in there. We're gonna cut that out, right? Right? We're gonna cut that out. Hi there, this is Jessica from the Healing Hands Duo. Today I'm going to take you through how to detoxify your kitchen. First, I'm going to start off with several reviews so that you can actually make an educated decision on what type of cutting board to purchase, as well as pots and pans, as well as your cutlery and your dishware. So if this is something you're interested in, please do stay tuned. What I have here is this cutting board here that I just purchased from Earthware. And what most people are not aware of with cutting boards is that a lot of cutting boards out there, specifically all of these natural bamboo-based cutting boards, is that a lot of them are extremely toxic in the sense that they use a lot of toxic glues and fillers to put those boards together. So in this case, this gentleman, what he does here is he makes all of his cutting boards right here in Canada, and he uses an FDA-approved glue that is non-toxic. He will claim that he does not use any type of mineral oils on his product. He also guarantees that none of his wood is pre-treated and none of the glue contains any formaldehyde, which is a major problem for not only the fact that you're cutting and preparing your food on these surfaces, but that these things off-gas. So these are just some things that people need to think about when purchasing products like a cutting board for your kitchen. And the other thing that I really loved about this company, not only did I love their logo there and their little tag here, but what they do is they prepare a home-based beeswax and walnut oil to seal your cutting board. That's another thing that I really loved here is because, like you can see right there, it's 100% organic walnut oil and certified organic local Canadian beeswax. So again, loved that idea here. I actually went ahead and purchased this very large one. It was a custom size. I believe it's 18 by 24, and it basically covers up this whole entire section of my countertop. I decided to go ahead and do that because we do a lot of vegetable preparation, and so that's what I did there. Then if you notice in the back there, I do have some of my older bamboo, and this I believe is walnut. But I can't even be sure about that one. But anyway, I never use these for preparing food anymore. What I do is I just use them as basically like hot plates to put hot things down on my quartz so that I'm not burning up my quartz there. The one in the back, however, is another one that I did purchase from him, and that one is specifically for cutting my meat, because I am a very strong believer that if you do have wooden cutting boards, you definitely want to keep one that is just for vegetable preparation, and then of course one for meat preparation. Here is my cutlery drawer, and I'm still working on this because, as most of you know, or anybody that's really serious about food preparation, you'll know that having a perfect workspace, and in this case my drawer is now very organized, which I'm happy with. And again, probably not the best out there, but I did buy some trays made out of bamboo, and then I did buy this piece here to house all my knives. This one here was, I believe, made by Henkel, and I do love it. I love the way that it displays all my knives here. Unfortunately, a lot of my knives, I haven't been able to switch out to good quality knives yet. I did just recently buy these kind of cheaper knives here, and I love using either I think it's called a Santoku, or this is a Japanese or a Chinese chef's knife here. So we tend to use those a lot, but in this case I do want to switch these out with better quality knives. Perhaps something that is made out of carbon stainless steel and less in things that are made out of inert metals. I have switched out all my cutlery here, and I bought all this set here from a company online called Chemical Free Living. The thing that I loved about all this cutlery here is that if you go to their website, which was again Chemical Free Living, they have tested all of the stainless steel that is used to make this particular type of cutlery. So in that case, you're not getting any type of cutlery that contains any and a lot of people are not aware of that, but stainless steel can be made from recycled materials. So unfortunately, they are finding now, and studies have shown, that some cutlery out there is actually infused with lead, which is very dangerous. And then other companies use little logos and prints on a lot of their cutlery and stuff like that, that actually makes that out of a cadmium-based ink, which again is very dangerous. So in this case, This company has gone ahead and said that this was entirely chromium nickel based. It's 1810. It's a higher base of nickel, which some of you will have problems with nickel. If you have a nickel allergy, then you probably want to avoid that, because that means that you can react to the nickel in your cutlery. But what they do, and they do claim, is that none of this metal does contain any type of lead or cadmium, or even in worse cases, because there are people who are doing or who are testing their cutlery and they're finding mercury in their cutlery as well. And the other thing that I really loved about this, and my husband has tested this, and the company claims it as well, is that none of this cutlery is radioactive. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but there are companies out there. And I did actually just recently see a post from a woman who had somebody come in and do an inspection in her home, specifically in her kitchen, and they found that something in her kitchen was actually in fact giving off some type of a radiation, and it was radioactive. Sure enough, it turned out that her cheese grater was made from a radioactive material. Okay, so now I'm just showing you my dinnerware, and my bowls are kind of a mess there, but my dinnerware and my glassware and all that. And as you can notice, there's kind of a common thing that I have going here, in the fact that most of my my dinnerware is made out of glass and not porcelain, with clear glass, and it seems to be a little bit easier to find clear glass. And when I say glass, I mean glass, and that is not the leaded crystal. You want to avoid eating out of or drinking out of any type of leaded crystals. And I don't think a lot of companies necessarily intentionally sometimes put that stuff in there, but in the porcelain and the ceramic products that I found out on the market, I'm noticing that a lot of companies do not guarantee that their glazes do not use lead and cadmium. And again, that's a major issue, because people are eating off of these things every day, and what they are not realizing, and especially for pregnant women, is that you're slowly poisoning yourself with lead and cadmium, and in some cases like mercury and whatnot. And then, you know, that's actually being transferred to your unborn fetus, and that can lead to birth defects and other issues as well. So anyway, just to talk about what I have here, a lot of my stuff that I recently purchased, and that's the reason why I felt comfortable with this company, which the company in the case for my plates and bowls and all that came from Anchor Hawking, was because I actually called the company and they sent me the chemical, basically the chemical makeup on their glass products. But I did find that most of their glass is made out of, I believe it's called, the thing is their glass is fairly, you know, again, a lot of companies can't guarantee 100% lead free, because in natural glass products and porcelain products and anything that really comes from the earth, just generally, a lot of our earth or soil is already contaminated or naturally contains some form of aluminum or lead in it. So in this case, they have guaranteed that they don't add any additional lead or cadmium or BPAs or anything like that to make their glassware more strong. So you do have to be a little bit careful in the sense that this glassware is going to be a little bit more delicate. But I bought those ones thinking I was getting the Anchor Hawking, but those are Libby. And I did check with that company too, and Libby and Anchor Hawking seem to be fairly clean. Both products that are made, a lot of these products are made in the United States. However, you do have to check with some of their other products, like their glass containers for food storage and stuff like that, as well as some of their glassware or stemware, because some of that stuff is unfortunately made outside of the country. So now we're taking a look at my pots and pans that I use in my kitchen. And again, I use these ceramic pots and pans here. And I know I had mentioned that you have to watch out with cookware, or even serving or dishware or glassware that's made out of ceramic. But in this case, I did check with this company. Actually, I believe these pots and pans are even distributed by a very reputable homeopathic doctor who's online, and I'm sure most of you know who he is. It's Marcola, Dr. Marcola. And so with this here is I've purchased these pots, and you could see there that I have like a deeper, so kind of like a frying pan there, and then I just have a smaller pot there. and then I have a larger pot, and then I have like a smaller frying pan. And again, these are all made out of ceramic, and they do have a black glaze on them that is, you know, is scratch proof. Bottoms are a little bit damaged, you'll see here, and that's because we use a gas stove in our kitchen, and so that's a little bit of scratches happening from the grills and stuff. But just from regular use, you're not going to get a lot of scratches on there, you know, maybe 1 or 2. But we've been using these things for over, I don't know, I would say up maybe 5 or 6 years now, and you could see they're fairly still shiny on the inside. And I believe you can season them as well, but I've never really had to. Anyway, again, they're, you know, we don't use anything that is made from PFOA or non-stick in our kitchen. I decided to go ahead and do was to switch out all my pots and pans, because we were using things made out of aluminum, which is something else that I would strongly not suggest, because aluminum, although you'll see mixed reviews on this online, whether aluminum can contribute to things like Alzheimer's and all that. But again, I just feel comfortable not really using metal at all, considering in the past I had heavy metal toxicity. So anyways, we switched over to ceramic, and this company here, and there is another company online, and I can post them online for those of you that live in Canada. Might be a little bit quicker to get it from this other company as opposed to Marcola, but you can find it from Marcola. But the name here is Xtrema. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Xtrema. And you'll see here that it is a USA design. Unfortunately, I don't think you could see that on camera very well, but it is a USA design. But don't get a little people probably freak out when they first get these, because they'll notice that you'll notice that these are actually made in China. But again, this is made in the outskirts of China, and it's made from a clean manufacturing company. I believe I ordered my tea kettle, and I can show you that here. I just recently ordered a tea kettle by the same company, and it's up there. And I've done extensive research on these pots and pans, and really I think they're probably your best bet, and they're probably going to be the best thing out there. The next best bet to doing something like this, like the Xtrema stuff, is to probably go stainless steel. Again, stainless steel, you want to watch and you want to make sure that you're buying stainless steel products or pots and pans from a reputable company. But all my bakeware, again, I don't use aluminum cookie sheets or any of that. I use, again, like here, all my baking dishes, they're also made from Xtrema. This is made from a food grade silicone. So silicone, unfortunately, there are some people who say silicone does off gas and others say that they don't. But as for right now, it seems to be a much better option for you than using plastic that can contain BPA's and other harmful chemicals that replicate human hormones. So here, this is what I use for food preparation. Again, like I said, whenever possible, you probably want to try to avoid using any type of metal in your kitchen whatsoever, just because all metals in some form or another are reactive to a certain extent. Some of them are less reactive than others. But in this case, what I do is when I'm actually preparing food on the oven, just because, if you're using stainless steel and stuff like that, that stuff is coming into contact with high heat, which is when, unfortunately, you're going to see some of those chemical leaching of, metals or other toxic substances. So in this case, I use wooden utensils when I'm actually cooking. Like I said, I will use stainless steel, 1810 stainless steel for cutlery and such, things that are not being heated up too much, like, forks and knives and spoons. But when I'm cooking on the stove, we really like to use wood whenever possible. So here we have just 2 kind of stirring spoons, and then like a wooden spatula. These are like little toast tongs. I bought those and they're much too small, but I figured, you know what, that's probably handy around the kitchen for picking up hot things, or I don't know what I'm gonna really use those for. But anyway, I did purchase those. These are a little bit better. They're wood tongs and they're amazing quality. These were fairly expensive as well, but that's Imagine Wood there. And I believe all this wood is made from birch, I believe. And again, I can post that down below. But the thing that I really liked about that, and there again, there's just like another spatula. The thing that I really loved about this company too, and again, I believe this is from Living Rooms, is the fact that number one, you're using something as natural to the planet as wood. And again, the other thing that I loved about these ones is they all came they didn't come pre-seasoned, which means that I can basically coat all of my wood products with my own organic oils. Like those should last you a long time too. You know, with wood, unfortunately, you do need to take a little bit more extra precaution when you're cleaning wood products that you use in your kitchen. And that just means that you don't want to let these things sit dirty. You want to clean them kind of right after you've used them. You don't want to submerge this in water because it is wood ultimately, and you know, you can create wood spurs on your products, or the fact that, you know, your wood can crack, and then that can be kind of a breeding ground for bacteria and other types of pathogens that you can find in and around your kitchen. You really want to find a company that uses a good quality of wood, and a company that, you know, makes these pieces strictly out of one piece of wood, which means that they don't have to use any types of fillers or glues to put this together.